My amplified unit, salute, top of the morning, Thursday, June the 8th, 2023. This is the Amped Up Podcast with BC Amplified, and we indeed have a packed, stacked, jacked show for you today. Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, breaks his silence, finally. We just wanted to know the dude was okay. Can you say some words? Bray Wyatt breaks his silence. We also have news on CM Punk's first match, which will be Collision. It might not be what you expected. The community is split. Half of them can see why this is happening. Break off, shake off some ring rust. Maybe this will set up a big storyline. Maybe? Does Tony Khan have it in him? Or is this just a little bit of a filler? Tickets were not pumping out like Tony Khan had hoped. The announcement of CM Punk himself still did not sell out Chicago, so they're going to put him in action, right? Was this the plan all along? BC will talk about it. We'll talk about what the match is, what it means, what it could lead to, and we're also going to talk WWE literally replacing the Bella Twins, now the Garcia twins. So this is typical WWE. It's fascinating. You may not know who these replacements are. BC will tell you their names. I'll give you some history on them. I'm not going to act like I know who they are. I'm literally going to read with you. We're going to learn a lot about these Bella Twin replacements. We're going to learn a lot about it together. I haven't read an article on them yet. I have an article. I'm going to read it for the first time with you guys. We're going to learn about them. But this is not just a different set of twins that happens to be in WWE, guys. I'm going to give you a timeline. I'm going to show you specifically that they were handpicked to be replacements. And further proof of that is what just happened on Tuesday night and what we already got word of last week, that they were being skyrocketed ever since April. A few weeks after an announcement from a certain other set of twins saying they were done with the WWE. We'll go over the timeline. I'll let you know who these ladies are. I'll learn with you who they are because they seem to be damn good athletes. But I think they were more, as time went on, their social media game started to take precedent. They started to see themselves as superstars. Well, what better place, right? Vinnie Mac, Paul Levesque, they would love to have you. We'll talk all about that. So that's just, like I said, man, it's a packed, stacked, jacked podcast today. It's probably going to be a double-decker. I might have another one later for you guys because I'm going to have some time a little bit later. So if there's other stories that I think I can put within a 45-minute format, you guys will get a second dose, double the amplification later this afternoon. So obviously stay subscribed and notified. Notified especially. That little bell will go off when another upload goes up. You guys will be the first to know. I shouldn't even have to say this by now. If you're a gold card member, channel member, for sure, you have to. It's a prerequisite. But for my entire red team, my entire amplified unit, the first thing you should do when you come on into an amplified upload, an amplified podcast, is smash that up. I always say give it a Batista bomb. It just feels devastating. But maybe some sweet chin music. Maybe lock it into a sharpshooter for the Iron Sheik, the old camel clutch. Or Sergeant Slaughter's variations of the clutch too. Whichever. Just give the like button that knock. Maybe it's the fruit roll-up these days, right? Nobody can kick out of a fruit roll-up. You roll a wrestler up, it could be Ricochet rolling up Braun Strowman, and Strowman will be like a turtle flipped upside down. I can't get up. Like the Christmas Story kid. But smash that like button, guys. Help out the algorithm. Salute. And what's really cool, man, there were several super thanks in yesterday's upload. That little thanks button down below where you can tip the creator. Several of you guys did such. I'm going to read those super thanks comments a little bit later as well, because in that, and I'll give you a little heads up, that shout out is over to Jack Brewer. I'll be reading that a little bit later. Jack Brewer, I appreciate you. Christopher Blackshear contributing to the channel big time, and he happens to be the new channel member of the week, the gold card unit member of the week. Christopher Blackshear, salute. I'll read that a little later as well. And JR9 Gaming, the right-hand man of the channel. And he's got what are we calling it? The JR's Amplified NXT Roundup. I like it. We're going to read the entire roundup from JR9 Gaming. That's all coming up in this podcast. So grab your beverage, knock it down, come right on back. We're going to get amplified. Amped Up with BC, June the 8th, 2023. Welcome on back, guys. Let's get right into it. Like I said, packed, stacked, and jacked. Possibly a double amplified day as well. Maybe another upload later. Subscribed, notified. You'll be the first to know. But I want to start off with a little quick headline, but pretty prevalent and relevant. It holds a lot of weight, and that's Bray Wyatt breaking his silence. We believe this obviously has to do with the Iron Sheik. But he says, and I quote, "We will miss you, Bubba. Hashtag humble." So obviously, again, we believe that's to the Iron Sheik. If you guys don't know, if you missed the podcast yesterday, or you've been living underneath a rock or under the ocean like the Little Mermaid, sadly. And we broke this. I think I found out within an hour before I started recording yesterday. But the Iron Sheik passed away at the age of 81. His family sending out a statement via social. And I did read that, or a part of that, in yesterday's podcast. So the wrestling world was all in their feels yesterday, man. Even if you're a fan, a critic, a journalist, a reporter, you kind of put those hats on the side. Your reporter hat, your journalist hat, your critic hat. And you just remember just being a fan flat out, and how the Iron Sheik, if you're a little bit older, let's not get carried away, but a little bit older like BC, you remember the Iron Sheik pretty prevalently. He was deep into the thick of it with Hulk Hogan back at WrestleMania 1. Now, this was just before BC's time. I started watching the King Kong Bundy Hulk Hogan WrestleMania was the first one I remember. And then Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan at 3 and 4. And then Macho Man Hogan 5 and so on. Warrior Hogan 6. 7, Slaughter Hogan. 8 was a double main event. Macho Man Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Sid Justice. 9 was Yokozuna, Bret Hart, which turned into Hulk Hogan, Yokozuna. WrestleMania 10, Lex Luger and Yoko, Bret and Owen, and then Bret and Yoko, right? Like a triple main. Man, I can't believe I spat off the first 10 main events of WrestleManias. That's funny. WrestleMania 11, I believe, was Lawrence Taylor, the New York football player, defensive back, versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't know how I remember this shit. 12 was Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I don't know. 13 was, I think, Sid Justice, Undertaker. Taker gets the title. Was it Justice or Diesel? Did Undertaker beat Diesel at 13? 14, Stone Cold over Shawn Michaels, and then 15, it gets cloudy. Maybe Stone Cold and The Rock. Oh man, 15, it gets a little cloudy. My point is, guys, it's the Amped Up podcast. Sometimes we go in left field with a hockey stick. Be prepared to put in the earbuds. Listen to this as a straight podcast. This could take an hour sometimes, or more. But my point is, man, Iron Sheik was deep into the thick of it. Leading into, not that he was at WrestleMania 1, by the way, main event, that was Hogan, T, Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, Randy Orton's father, Bob Orton, had a big part in that. But Iron Sheik, Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik had that long, historic battle right beforehand. And the title changing hands to get over to Hulk Hogan, we're talking Sheik, and doing the job. If Sheik didn't have that long tenured feud with Hulk Hogan, quite possibly, and I say 99.99% like a Clorox wipe, you don't have the Hulk Hogan that we had for decades. Hulk Hogan doesn't become what he became. Hulk Hogan doesn't even have what he had with Andre the Giant or Macho Man or Warrior or anybody going forward if it wasn't for the seeds planted, the foundation being built upon the back of the Iron Sheik. So anyway, that's just BC's praise on what the Iron Sheik meant. And even though it was, again, just before BC's time to see him in his prime, I still remember one of my first figures. And guys, it wasn't like the Mattel figures that you have now, the little plastic ones. I grew up on those too. But even before that, there was these big rubber ones. They were like bigger than the size of my medium coffee. And that's right, I drink about 13 a day. So I don't worry, I don't get just larges all day. All my morning ones are usually just medium, relax. But a little bit bigger than the medium. Maybe a full large coffee was the size of these wrestlers, man. And they were like rubber, I want to say. But they were like hard rubber. And they were the best, man. I remember Greg the Hammer Valentine, Hillbilly Jim, Andre the Giant in just the blue trunks, not the black singlet. I had Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage with the purple tights. And the does he have them? Nope, these are the orange with the white, but they're the purple with the white stars and the bandana. An Iron Sheik. And what was it like? Was it like purple pants too, or was it blue? And it had Sheik down the side, or something was in writing on the side. And the Iron Sheik, he had like one of these poses or some shit. I don't know. I know who the hell. I had a Big John Stud. Man, so many of them. It's all coming back to me. I kind of want those back. I got to go find them on. What do you find things like that now? Because Amazon have them. Amazon has everything. Yeah, man, I should get that collection rocking again. Special Delivery Jones. Does anybody remember SD Jones? I had him. But the point is, I had the Sheik, and that really made me learn a lot more about him because I always had him winning titles in my fake professional wrestling league. You know, as a kid, you had your own little federation, right, with your wrestlers. You had your own champions. You had your jobbers. So Iron Sheik just became my ultimate heel, and I learned a lot about him. So anyway, that's left field with a hockey stick. We believe that was absolutely because he always called everybody Bubba too. So obviously, we're going to connect that to Iron Sheik. Wyatt 6. Wyndham 6, Wyndham Rotunda. Bray Wyatt breaks his silence and showing that appreciation and love to the Sheik. We will miss you, Bubba. Hashtag stay humble. Salute to the Iron Sheik. Passed away at the age of 81. To his friends, family, all that knew him so well. To the Sheik himself. Salute. Thank you. So that's Bray Wyatt. And on top of that, guys, it's so cool to see. It's so cool to see that Wyatt is okay, right? I mean, we say broke his silence because it's literally been radio silence for months. And for Wyatt, he's one of those illuminating characters, right? When you think larger than life, whether you like him or not, or like his booking, or love Supernatural or not, he's larger than life. There's no way around it. Like if you pass, we said it yesterday, and this is not shade, but if you pass J.D. McDonut, right? You guys know who I'm talking about. If you pass him in a Lowe's or a supermarket, you're going to pass right by him. He's not larger than life, guys. He's not. I mean, and I'm not just talking about size. It's just a good example of that, before I moved on, actually, is like Shawn Michaels or a Bret Hart, right? Now, some may look at them as larger than life, or at least steps above the average and normal by a landslide, especially if you're in Canada, by the way. If you can get through the damn wildfires that are turning our skies pink, yellow, and every which color in between. I understand it's Pride Month, and for those that celebrate, congratulations, awesome for you. But damn, the skies didn't have to be turning every which way, man. Everybody's got masks back on. But anyway, the point is, if you're in Canada, Bret Hart was beyond larger than life. But even here in the States, you would see this guy walk through a mall, and there would be a line of people trying to get pictures and autographs and following this dude. Now, if you're J.D. McDonut, if you're a Ricochet, that's most likely not happening. John Gargano, probably not happening, right? great wrestlers. We respect them. Maybe one day they can become larger than life, but it's an aura, guys. It's a presence. It's a mystique. Guys like Bray Wyatt, if you're walking through a supermarket, bro, you're going to stop. You really are. You're going to notice him, first of all, which guys like J.D. McDonough, you're just going to pass by. Maybe even a Grayson Waller, you're just going to pass by, unless you really, really follow their career and what they're doing and what they're up to, and you're just a big fan. And you're like, oh, shit, that's Grayson. Dude, I'm a big fan. Can I get a quick pic? But if not, you're passing by these guys. Bray Wyatt, you could easily be a casual fan that doesn't watch often, and you walk by Bray and you're like, dude, Henry, get over here. Jessica, that's Bray Wyatt. Who's that? A movie star? It's Bray Wyatt, man, the wrestler. Some people are just larger than life, or steps. If you don't consider some of these dudes larger than life, they're many, many steps above the normal. And that's one of those things. Like Bray Wyatt is just that dude. So you have somebody who's I mean, there's this presence, this aura, this larger than life aspect, and he just disappears from WWE, man. Nobody knows if it's just health. There's all these rumors. Oh, Vince was gonna make him the Fiend again. Paul Levesque and Wyndham couldn't see eye to eye, and they had a disagreement. And Paul tattled and told Vince. And there's all these stories. Nobody knows. It's good to just, hey, he's good. He's on his little fucking social machine, and he doesn't use it often. He doesn't step out of character often. That's another reason we love Bray Wyatt. He's not out there doing one fucking supernatural thing and one awesome segment on a Monday night, and then 2 hours later he's at the steakhouse tweeting his food out. He doesn't use his 140 characters like that. Salute to Bray Wyatt. We hope nothing but the best for him. We hope to see him back in the near future. Salute to Wyndham Rotunda. All right, those are my salutes. I'll be giving more salutes to my channel members in just a little bit. But moving on, where do you guys want to go? We'll wait on the Bella Twin Cavinder twins story, because that's the main one. We'll wait on that for a second. We'll go over to CM Punk. Another big announcement, right? Tony Khan is trying to capitalize on all these big announcements, trying to pop those ratings, especially not going against the playoffs anymore. Last week, he scored almost 850,000, right? Or was it over 9? I think it was almost 950, the top tier of his old niche, which is 950. The low tier of their niche is 850 of their top tier of the niche. I hope that makes sense. So they have approximately, for the longest time, 950,000 niche fans. If they can hit around the 950, that's the top tier of the niche. And the low of the top tier is the 850. For several weeks, they were going into the 700s and low 800s. So even the bottom of their top tier niche was starting to go the other way, which means you're actually diminishing your entire niche audience. We started to think, oh, it's going down to 750. It was 950. It's going to 750. The niche is even walking away. So all these big announcements and whatnot, and the NBA playoffs coming to a close with the finals, so it's more sporadic on the dates. You're starting to see the ratings kind of. It's not going to fully jump over 1 million or anything like that. I tell you guys, that's why I don't use these playoffs as an excuse. But you start to see the 20, 30, 40, 50,000 that maybe were tuning a little bit more into playoffs. You start to see them change the channel a little bit more back over to AEW, Turner Networks, TBS, TNT. So you see, okay, Tony's got a big announcement, right? That's going to bring maybe 20, 30,000 more people bare minimum. And before you know it, you take your 860 and you have a 930, 940. So a lot of people thought it was going to break 1 million, and no, that's what I always tell you guys. If your show is not up to par week after week, and fans are missing week after week, they don't feel like they have to tune in every week. There's no FOMO, no fear of missing out. So that's why AEW went so low. It's like Monday Night Raw. And just not having playoff games is not going to bring the audience in full, in its entirety back. You're not just going to go over 1 million because there wasn't a playoff game or because Tony had an announcement. You're going to have to work double, triple as hard to just get your niche back. to try to get back to the 950. And last week they didn't even do that. We'll see if this week they could. No NBA playoffs. Big announcement by Tony Khan. CM Punk's first match announced. Can they get over the 950? Can they break 1 million? We'll see. But 950 they should at least be doing. If I can do another upload later, I will have the number for AEW's rating later. We'll see if they pulled 1 million or at least the 950, which they came close to again last week. So, CM Punk's first match. That was all the numbers talk, guys. You guys need a fucking big swig after that, man. Beastly! Beastly, you're making my head spin with all the numbers, man. If you're new to the channel, I'm a big numbers guy, so I get really excited to talk about numbers, metrics, statistics. It's always fun to me. I follow the trends and the trajectories. We can usually see where these shows are, or what they're going to get. But with AEW, they're always so all over the place. You never know with AEW. But last night was another huge announcement with CM Punk. And Khan announced the main event for the premiere of Collision, which is going to be in Chicago, which is going to be next Saturday night. Not this Saturday. Next Saturday, the 17th of June. Chicago, Collision. The main event will be Punk's return match. Punk will team with the AEW World Tag Champions FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler to face the Bullet Club's I can speak another coffee, BC, huh? Capiche? The Bullet Club Gold's Jay White and Juice Robinson with Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe. Say that, man, 10 times fast. That is the longest fucking main event I gotta announce. FTR World Tag Champions, Bullet Club Gold, red, blue, yellow like the fucking sky. White and Robinson, and Ring of Honor World Champion Samoa Joe. That's the last time I'm going to say it like that. I'm just going to announce the fucking names of the individuals. I don't care what you're a part of. I don't care what title you're holding. I don't know why that just got me really irritated. Spit that out. And we kind of knew that the 6-man tag, it was already kind of rumored beforehand. They were thinking about doing that, shake off some ring rust for CM Punk and whatnot. But I don't know why he would have to wrestle his first night anyway. Just set up something really huge, right? Set up a really big storyline. I don't know if we need to just see a filler match from the jump from Punk. But maybe Tony Khan felt like, listen, even when we announced CM Punk, we couldn't sell this place out. We were hoping just the buzz. People knowing, but not really officially made the announcement. But people knew he was going to show up like Rampage. Maybe it would sell out quick. That didn't happen this time. So last week he had to say, listen, CM Punk will be there on the debut. It still didn't sell out. So this week he's like, listen, Punk is going to be in action. You can't miss that, Chicago. So we'll see if they can sell out after this announcement, but they're going to have to sell all the tickets. We're talking 10,000 tickets, bare minimum. 10,000. And they haven't sold out yet, and the event is next Saturday. You got this big Punk return. BC raises the question, are people just done with Punk? Of course, Chicago, you're going to get the best sales, but after that, even Meltzer, who many say is on the payroll of AEW, I don't believe that fully, but he absolutely, I mean, there's a move named after him. The Young Bucks, who are executive vice presidents, are friends with Melty Boy, and he gets into media scrums there. I mean, obviously, there's a tie there, man. You look at all the awards that Melty Boy's little thing dishes out. They're always AEW wins everything. The ratings don't back it up, but they win everything. It doesn't matter if it's promotion of the year, booker of the year, janitor of the year, receptionist of the year, seamstress of the year. It doesn't matter what it is. They're going to win everything, and that's what I mean. There's a tie in there. But even Melty Boy is like, Collision's not really selling too well. Like, after Chicago, I'm not even talking about they can't sell Chicago. They're not selling well, like the Canada shows especially. But this is Punk's show. Are people just done with the Punk thing? Well, I can assure you, I definitely am. I'll call it down the middle, his matches, his segments, all right. But I'm definitely done with the drama. I'm done with playing the Phil Brooks as a wrestling god. He's above everybody else. No, I never felt that way. I thought he was an average wrestler. I thought his promo skills are nowhere near what they once were. The Las Vegas promo that really catapulted him to stardom, you're not going to get that ever again. He tried several times in AEW. He had some good ones, but it's not the same Punk. He's older. He's more brittle. He's more upset and pissed off and frustrated, angry, injured. He said all that in the media scrum. I am XYZBCA. It's not the same Punk, man. So I think a lot of people are just done with it, you know. We played the same thing. We're done showing up to arenas and yelling, Slam Punk, nonstop. From match bell time to the fucking closing bell, and everybody goes home. People are done with it. And I think the ticket sales, the ticket sales are telling you we're fucking done with it. But a lot of people still are like, he's gonna say the EWBC. Well, hope so. Let's see, man. Let's see what the ratings can... Not the first couple of weeks or even first week where you'll pop the million, obviously. Even on a Saturday, because it's Punk. Even people that are done with it just want to see what they're going to do, right? Let me just have the remote in hand. I'll see what they're up to. But are you going to sustain that for a month, 2 months? I doubt it very much. Unless you did something huge. And that is where I'm going with next. A lot of people that are saying, all right, BC, I understand a lot of people are kind of befuddled by this weird 6-man tag, which, by the way, we shouldn't be because Dax Harwood is just in love with Punk anyway. Like, Dax started a podcast, I firmly believe, to love CM Punk. Everything was about, please, bring Punk back. Please, let Punk tag with us. Punk is a good man. Punk's a good guy. I'm like, Dax, you got a wife. Relax a little bit, bro. And finally, Dax is like, all right, I'm ending the podcast. Everybody is done with it. Nobody wants to hear me just talk about Punk. It got old. Everybody started to kind of bash him a little bit. Dude, stop talking about one person. It's boring. You look like an idiot. So Dax ended it. That's the good news. It will never work. You got to have other subjects, man. You got to. It'll fall flat on its face. So fucking... So Dax, but you had to have known he was going to tag up with FTR. But the fans that are saying, okay, we understand it's a BS filler match. It's just a match out of nowhere. But maybe it sets something up, BC. Maybe with the Bullet Club, man, it's going to set something up. Maybe Punk turns on FTR and he's going to lead the Bullet Club. All right. How many people are going to... how many people know who Juice Robinson is outside of the niche audience? You don't want to hear this if you are niche. Oh, come on, BC, man. Juice Robinson's amazing. No. You know that. BC may know his work. That's fine. How many fans know Juice Robinson? Like the bulk. And then you stop and you go, well, BC, that's not Tony's problem. BC, that's not our problem, man. We know. It's still a problem for AEW because you're diminishing the value. You say, well, BC, that's what Randy Orton did to two nobodies like DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes. Okay, these kids of legends, but why else should we care about them? Randy Orton took them under their wing. Paul Levesque, Schnoz McGee, Pinocchio Pussface, he took Batista and Orton when their careers were not skyrocketed yet, and he helped them along the way. So this is a chance for them to be put on the map. Okay, that's great to say in theory, and you give those examples and many other. But guys, it doesn't work today often. I'll give you an example, all right? Blackpool Combat Club, when they brought in the Wheeler, Utah, right? And they said, all right, we're going to bring in, we're going to be a mixture of veteran and youngsters. Well, the Blackpool Combat Club hit their ceiling rather quickly. They have not become what a lot of people thought they were going to be. You know it, I know it. Bryan Danielson could not have been booked any more oddly. I understand if you say you just don't want him with a world title since he's been there for a couple of years now. But to lose every single one of your big pay-per-view matches, because that's what Bryan Danielson did, basically. Maybe there was one that he won. But all of the big pay-per-views or all of the big themed dynamites, he's lost them all. Mox has Mox, I felt, carried the company for the longest time, but never really clicked with the AEW audience fully. And a lot of them turned their backs on Mox in recent months. A big reason why they turned heel. And Wheeler Yuta, he never gained traction. The niche audience, they may love him. I'm telling you right now, the pulse of the rest of the wrestling world, they do not have Wheeler Yuta in their top 10, 20, 50, or 100. They don't. Just didn't work because they didn't do it properly. Can it even work in 2023? I still think so, but you got to do it properly. I'll give you another example, guys. Dan Garcia, right? You could put Dan Garcia, what's he, with Jericho's faction there. And by the way, Daddy Magic, big fan of Daddy Magic. But it wasn't done properly. So on a lot of fans' radar, he's not on it. Dan Garcia, guys, is not on it. You can take people under your wing because you're a veteran and say, well, people are going to love it now because I'm a veteran and I'm going to make this guy. You didn't make Dan Garcia. And Tony Khan has put Dan Garcia on, it seems, every single Dynamite imaginable. When top-tier stars couldn't even get TV time. Even before Andrade got injured and Miro was on the shelf, they couldn't get TV time anyway. FTR could not get on Dynamite. They were winning titles every other which company, but not Dynamite. They couldn't even get on the show, and so many others. But there was Dan Garcia. Until this very day, I'm telling you guys, the pulse of the wrestling world, Dan Garcia is not on their radar. Check the quarterlies out in the ratings. Channels flicking, or they're shutting the TV off when Dan Garcia's on. That's not shade. I'm telling you guys, it takes more than just taking people underneath your wing. So if you think that just because Punk is going to align himself with Juicy Robinson and Jason White, that's right, Jason and Juicy, and all of a sudden that's going to bring $1.5 million every week. Guys, it's going to take more than that. I'm okay with it. Just do it properly. Because I've seen a lot of this recently, and it falls to the wayside. Nobody cares. You're just taking people under your wing and hoping that they get the rub off of you. It's a cute analysis behind the scenes ahead of time when you're brainstorming. But if you don't execute correctly, you're just taking youngsters and we're having absolute jobber matches. That's what it feels like. But it's good wrestling, boys like Dan Garcia and Juicy Robinson. They can give 27-minute bangers. Nobody's going to care. Nobody. Except for your niche, and that's why you can't grow. That's pro wrestling in a nutshell, and it's a trickle-down effect. Every company, every reporter that covers it, podcasts, it's a trickle down. Nothing can truly grow if at the top, they're not growing. You got to expand. So for anybody going, man, this could be CM Punk and he's going to lead a faction or he's going to align himself because he's got to turn heel because he's hearing a lot of boos. When Tony Khan announced CM Punk, for instance, there was a shit ton of boos. Punk was booed on the announcement by so many fans. Maybe they're already planning a heel turn. It doesn't excite me just to have Punk leading a faction just to lead a faction. Mox and Bryan Danielson and BCC doesn't intrigue me. Chris Jericho with his society now, Jericho Appreciation Society, JAS, doesn't do anything anymore. It's gotten stale before it even got off the ground. And trust me, I can't stand what is called fickle fans. I'll use Bryan Danielson's word, fickle. Trust me, it has nothing to do with fickle. I mean, we all gave it a true chance. There was some moments of glimmering hope. But I think we all know now, these factions are really stale. And Punk just leading another one or trying to rekindle Bullet Club gold. I hope they do it right if so. And if not, then what? Punk is just a face who's aligned with FTR and maybe we can get a bunch of six-mans in the future. I don't know. I'm not shitting on this up front, guys. I'm letting them have their six-man. We'll see what they have in store, what they have planned. I'm hoping the focus isn't actually the six-man tag, right? That's just the setup to the really big story at the end of the night, the cliffhanger that makes the wrestling girl. The wrestling world is one wrestling girl. She's out there somewhere. The wrestling world really just stop and go, damn, this is huge. Did you guys hear what happened with Punk? I mean, I feel like you have to have that moment. So much drama in the last several months. The boos about Punk. People are going to be expecting something big. If you just deliver a six-man tag and the faces celebrate at the end, or Punk joins forces with Bullet Club, if it's not done properly, within just 2 weeks, not 2 months, mark my words, within 2 weeks, you'll see the ratings go backwards. But he just did the heel turn. Doesn't matter. You better have a story that is top-notch amplified. Or all of this was to pop the first week's rating, and bye-bye. You guys remember the first ever Rampage. CM Punk debuted. And they popped a 1-2 at least, right? A little over 1-2, bare minimum. Do you guys know that now they're about 300,000 to 400,000 on average? That's not losing half your audience. That's losing way more. I mean, they're in the 300,000 some weeks, and I know the putting them in different nights and in different time slots because of playoffs or exemptions on for other things, award shows. It's been exempted every which way. I understand. It doesn't change the fact that you're hovering 3 and 4 so many times. Guys, that means they are now pulling in 1/4 of what they debuted. If you look at 1.2 plus and they're getting 300 plus-ish, you've lost 3/4. 3/4 of your audience is gone. What makes you think on a Saturday night that won't happen? And Punk didn't just go to that one Rampage. He was on many others afterwards. Falls to the wayside, guys. Do it correctly, do it properly. So I'm not shitting on this, but I'm not going to lie and say when I heard him announce the six-man tag officially, that I was like, whoa, how is Chicago not selling that place out? Six-man tag with Juicy Robinson and Jason White? If you put them together, they equal the weight of one of Yokozuna's legs. And you're going to be surprised that people are not that fucking yearning, begging, pleading to get into that building, to give you their money to see these guys wrestle. You're going to have more than that story. If the wrestlers are not going to be larger than life, the story's going to have to come to life. So here we go, man. Tony Khan is letting every week more and more out of the bag to try to sell Chicago. And as of the recording of this, the place is still not sold out. As of last recording, there were still nearly 2,000 tickets to be sold. It's a 10,000 seater that they're only setting up for. It can fit way more. But they've tarped a lot of the top. And they made their set a little wider, so they're making it 10-ish. And they can't sell that with Punk, buzz, Punk being officially announced, Punk now being announced in a match. What more do you need to know? Everybody who buys a ticket, Punk will sign you an autograph and take a picture with you? Maybe that'll sell it out? I don't know. But they're in a little bit of trouble here. And then it comes down to who's going to be working on it. Tony Khan has not announced an official brand split, but it is. Punk said from day one he wants to work with Samoa Joe. Now, this wasn't from his mouth. This was the reporting that we were getting, and Punk was getting pissed at the reporting. I'm no fan of Brian Alvarez, but he took a lot of heat for reporting what he was hearing. A lot of it was accurate. He wanted Ace Steel to come back. And he's not coming back until he knows Ace Steel has a permanent position. Or he wants to work with people like Samoa Joe from the jump. Well, these are all statements that ended up coming to fruition. Steel absolutely tied with AEW once again. And Samoa Joe will be in the first match with Punk. So no lies were detected. Very odd, man, the whole situation. So we'll see what happens next Saturday night. If nothing else is intriguing to you about CM Punk, this whole thing finally coming to a conclusion, that's intriguing, right? Next Saturday night, it finally ends. Now, what stems from the end of this book? Does something really awesome stem from it and we get something so captivating that we start a new book and maybe it's more positive? We'll see. But for a lot of people, if it's not done correctly next Saturday night and we don't have a cliffhanger, something amazing with Punk that was planned, a story that truly makes us talk the next day, week, month, and going forward, then a lot of people are finally going to put that remote down once and for all and say, all right, that's the Punk shit. I saw it. I'm done. I'm good. I don't need to tune in next week or anytime in the near future. We'll see. Salute. That was a good conversation I feel we just had, guys. As honest as you're going to get it, because you're not getting somebody who's going to fucking lick the boots of CM Punk and chant his name every fucking arena. That's not BC. And you're not getting somebody who's just going to rip him apart just to rip him apart. I'm giving you an honest assessment of Phillip Brooks CM Punk, and that's what we've always done from day one. The dude burns bridges every which way he goes, and sometimes I think he doesn't even realize which bridges he burns. So if they were able to put out that fire and kind of rebuild the bridge, the dude walks back across the same bridge and reburns it. You know, and then people go, well, everybody, the roster needs to put on their big boy pants and do big boy business. Put their egos aside, their personal beef, and do what's best for business and work with Punk. Well, they shouldn't have to do that, though. If so many bridges have been burned, all of their friends, maybe their own bridge that they were standing on was burned by Punk, they shouldn't have to do business because they don't want the same mistake to happen again, right? It's the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's my fault for allowing it to happen a second time. A lot of these fans don't want that to happen again. So it's going to be interesting to see who goes where on this unofficial, unannounced brand split for AEW. Moving forward, let's get into... I mean, that was such a good conversation. That could have been the main event of the podcast. But you know what? It's not. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? And by the way, I will not be talking about the Booker T. Ryback social media feud. It is so ridiculous. I will not be covering Ryback. I won't be doing that, man. And if you're Booker T, what are you doing, man? Don't lower yourself to those standards, man. That is just ridiculous. So I will not be covering that. Over to the Bella Twins. WWE has completely replaced them. Now, this isn't just... Well, basically, it just happens to be another set of twins. Can I just start off with the timeline first? Let me do that. Get it. Let's all get a big swig of our beverage of choice. Hopefully it's a double shot amplified coffee. Let's do that, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a timeline. Oh, amplified. All right, so here's the deal. What was it, a year, 2 years ago, when the rumbling started happening that the Bellas were kind of like iffy on WWE. They pitched some ideas to win tag titles, and Vincent Kennedy was like, oh maybe not right now. Wait by the phone and I'll call you. Stay Bella-ish. And Nikki and Brie are like, what? Stay Bella-ish? Just, all right, we'll wait. And they pitched these ideas, and you could tell, like, in the interviews they were doing, they were not happy that WWE, they're like, yeah, we would love to. They have nothing for us. And they didn't like what they were saying in interviews, WWE. So they held them out even more. They're petty like that. So even when we knew they had something and it worked, they kept them to the wayside. So my point is, they send these Cavinder twins. I'm going to read all about them, or at least some of their history, and we're going to learn together. I'm not even joking, guys. I did not read this ahead of time. I don't know much, and when I say much, I mean at all, of the Cavinder twins. I'm going to read something from People, an article from, I believe, People magazine. I'm going to read this, and hopefully together we find out more about the Cavinder twins. But what I do know is a while back, they were brought into the NIL program for WWE. and they had signed their likeliness, their image, their names to WWE. Now, you're not going to do that unless WWE is going to give you a good callback in the future and say, hey, we want to bring you in. So now let me pump up the timeline to March 2023, just a few months ago. The Bella Twins officially announced that they are becoming the Garcia Twins. No longer tied with WWE, no longer a part of WWE, shedding the Bella name. They are now the Garcias. They could not come to terms with WWE. They were actually upset with WWE. On their social, they were ragging on WWE about women's matches and just decisions they were making, booking. I don't blame them, by the way. But that's probably not going to help your relationship. So that was middle-ish March, right? 14th, 15th-ish. Bella Twins say, we are done. We've had enough. We're going to go our own way and become Garcias. March. Timeline then goes to April, where WWE brings in officially the Cavinder twins. Let me see if I can get an exact... So I actually wanted to get a date for you guys. So April 13th, this is from the New York Post. April 13th, the Cavinder twins tease a new chapter with WWE. They announced on the Today Show on April 13th that they are entering the WWE as professional wrestlers. So early April, you got to believe, because I was the 13th, they finalized the deal with the Cavinder twins. Now, I'm going to read basketball players. They look like they're good athletes. I have not actually seen clips of them. Maybe they were just players with no talent. I don't know. That's to be seen. Maybe in the People magazine article that I'm about to read, maybe it'll show or tell us accomplishments. But that's mighty fast. It doesn't seem like they're anywhere near, I mean, getting ready for NXT already. But early April, they finalize a deal with WWE. They announce it April 13th. Guys, the timeline. Just a few weeks after the Bella Twins announced we are done, we are going on as the Garcias. We are no longer tied with WWE. They cannot do anything. They're not controlling us anymore. We're the Garcias. We've taken what WWE has given us, and we have made an empire, and we're going to milk it for all it's worth. Goodbye, WWE. Good luck without us. WWE says, hold our coffee. Hold my protein bar, doofus son-in-law. Paul Levesque is like, okay, my tribal chairman. They said, hold my coffee. Hold my protein bar. And they bring in a different set of twins weeks after. Weeks! Which means it was already the second they announced that they're departing WWE and the Bellas are going to become the Garcias. You got to believe they were already like, we need a new set of twins. Vince, in the NIL program, we were already setting up for this because we saw this with the Bellas. They've been unhappy. So we brought in the Cavinder twins in the NIL program. What if? I mean, it's really early. They're nowhere near ready. But what if we just announce it and we could forget about the Bellas? We could start new with them quickly and build on this new twin dynamic and dynasty, right? These twins are going to take over and be even more successful than the Bellas. You know that's what they're hoping. This had to have been discussed the day the Bellas announced this. In early April, by the latest, it was finalized, and on April 13th, they decided to go public with the announcement. And this is a big deal, guys, because NXT this past Tuesday, they showed up on NXT for their debut. Not a match, basically cheerleading, celebrating Chase University's big Battle Royal victory. But they're already there, and they've been there. But to say that you're coming on in April, and here we are in June, early June, and you're already on NXT television, they are skyrocketing them. Faster than Little Rock, right? Rock's daughter, Simone Johnson, Ava Raine. Congratulations, by the way. Big W. We'll go over that in JR's amplified NXT roundup later in this podcast. But they're skyrocketing them. And this is all by design. This timeline, it's not, word that the Bella Twins were not happy with WWE, and all of a sudden the Cavinder Twins are in the nil program. What? Word that, or not word, from their mouth, we're leaving WWE once and for all. We're no longer the Bellas, we're the Garcias. And a few weeks later, hey, everybody, this is the Cavinder Twins. And they're already, and then there's word about Bella Twins coming up with a new television show. And the announcement coming in the near future. And all of a sudden, the Cavinder Twins are on NXT television. The timeline, man. BC loves the timeline. WWE would not pull a move like this with twins if they don't have a purpose. They definitely want them to outdo in every way, every category, every metric, the Bellas. Do they have the talent to do such? Let's find out together. I really want to read this. When I say I've not read a word of this, I mean it. So I could stumble over some words, not that I can't read. But, sometimes catching an article, you don't know how their flow is, these writers. So, stumble through this with BC. Let's together find out about the Cavinder Twins. I hope I'm even pronouncing that correctly. It's pretty, it's Cavinder. How can I butcher that? Unless they were like the Cavinder Twins, right? The I is an E, BC. The Cavinder Twins. This is an article from People. Sean Newman has wrote this article for People Magazine. So they're already in People Magazine, guys. Should tell you something. And this was published just yesterday, June the 7th, Wednesday. Afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time. The headline is Cavinder Twins make their WWE television debut for the pro wrestling company. And it reads, and I quote, I hope I learn a lot about them right now with you guys. The Cavinder Twins have arrived in Hold on, let me get a swag. I know, BC, you're prolonging it, man. This is a long article. We got to read this together. We got to find out about them. All right. Cavinder Twins have arrived in WWE. Though People has learned their future with the professional wrestling company remains up in the air. No, don't worry. They're going to be catapulted to the main roster by SummerSlam, probably. Too funny. So they're not announcing anything about how they're being booked going forward. The twins, 22-year-old Haley and Hannah, appeared on WWE television for the first time on Tuesday night during the company's weekly NXT program. 22 years old. Haley and Hannah is their name. I did not know that. Really, I'm not even joking, man. Haley and Hannah. Okay. Let me sit on this for a second, guys. I'm really trying to digest the information. So Haley Cavinder and Hannah Cavinder. Brie, Nikki, Haley, Hannah. Ooh, I can see that working. Haley, Hannah. Haley and Hannah, the twins. All right, so the twins, 22-year-olds Haley and Hannah, appeared on WWE television for the first time on Tuesday night during the company's weekly NXT program. Haley and Hannah, who've risen to fame. I didn't even hear about them before the NIL program announcement. Shows how I'm not a big social media kind of guy and all that anyway, so I don't know who the kids are fucking raving about these days. But they rose to fame with 4.5 million followers on TikTok. That's why. TikTok. And recently finished their college basketball careers. Signed a name, image, and likeness NIL deal with WWE in late 21. That's what I told you guys about. That's not basically... Again, guys, I have to... pause the article. When people say that they signed with the WWE, that's the name, image, likeliness for the NIL program. It doesn't mean they're bringing you in officially or going to debut in TV in 6 months or 9 months. It means that they're interested. There's something that they need from you. In this case, what would they say here? Late 2021. Exactly when the Bellas were already saying things about WWE on social, not being completely happy. It's not a shock. So they signed that NIL deal late 2021. However, the twins have yet to appear inside a WWE main roster ring as wrestlers or announce their intentions to become in-ring performers. Before the show Tuesday night, the twins posted on their social media pages telling their followers they may see, and I quote, your new favorite tag team in the ring during the episode. Indeed, they did Tuesday night. In April, the Cavinder twins announced they were foregoing the 5th year of college basketball eligibility and leaving the NCAA behind after helping lead the University of Miami to the Elite Eight in the NCAA's women's basketball tournament. Wow, sounds like they're damn good. The twins said in a statement they were looking to start a new chapter in our lives. Days later, the twins appeared on Good Morning America and spoke about working with the WWE. And I quote, we're excited about the future with them, Haley said, adding that she and her sister love the WWE and their fan base, the sport, and the fitness side of it. So that sounds, and that could be true, by the way, and I hope it is, that they are fans and they really respect the business. But that sounds like a WWE issued statement for them to say. It's like they really worked with them, you know. Say that you love the fans, you love the sport, because they know. They see it with celebrities. When celebrities come in, the fans can see if they love the sport or not, or like it or respect it enough, and we can tell that instantly. So I'm sure WWE rehearsed many times what to say. Make sure the fans know you're fans, you love it, you respect this thing. Moving on with the People article on Haley and Hannah, the Cavinder twins. The glimpse of that potential future arrived on Tuesday night when WWE brought out Haley and Hannah in front of the live NXT audience as an introduction to its fan base. Later in the night, the twins ran down to the ring and lifted up WWE's Thea Hale on their shoulders. Chase University, guys. On their shoulders to help celebrate her win in the episode's main event match. The Cavinder twins ending the night for NXT. Or for the whole Battle Royal, the ending of it. A WWE source tells People the Cavinder twins still have an active nil deal with the pro wrestling company, but they're not currently signed to either a developmental contract or main roster contract. Haley and Hannah were visiting WWE's Performance Center in Orlando, where NXT is filmed, this week alongside 7 other nil recruits in order to see the facility and learn more about the company. Oh, the deal's been made. The deal has been made. This is not just some regular nil tie-up. They don't go on Good Morning America, Today's Show, and say that we are entering WWE. We're doing this. And then less than 2 months later, you're showing up on TV in NXT. All by design, man. All by design. So a lot of this information still staying pretty close-circuited. And I respect that. And I respect that because you don't want to get in too deep. It sounds like they're good athletes. Sounds like they had a damn good 4-year ride. What was it, Miami? NCAA? University of Miami to the Elite Eight in the women's basketball tournament. But it's different for pro wrestling. And I'm not going to act like I've seen clips of them yet or in the ring training. But I can just tell that they're a far way from doing this thing full time. So to throw them on NXT, even like this article says, and we already know, it's to introduce them. I already see what they're doing. They want to catapult them, guys. They want to catapult them. Bella's went up way faster than they should have. They made it. It took a long time for them to actually be taken seriously wrestling-wise, though. I'm telling you right now, guys. In fact, after Nikki's neck injury and all that, it wasn't until after that and the comeback where people started going, wow, Nikki got so much better. But she did. Brie, when she came back, that was rough. I mean, she almost broke her neck doing suicide dives and all that. That was a little rough. But Nikki really started to take it very seriously. But it took a while. And if you're going to catapult the Cavinder twins just to outdo what the Bellas did or make people forget about the Bellas or hope that they get this thing quickly, I don't know if that's the best thing for them. I'm absolutely willing to give it a shot, but just do your due diligence. Go about this the right way. I said that about Simone Johnson, The Rock's daughter. If you truly feel she just has the it factor and she's learning this much faster than others, that's fine. Like, look at Bad Bunny or a Logan Paul, right? They didn't go through any NXT program or months and months of extensive training, but they were able to just get this. They had the it factor. They went in there, they captivate, they put on really good matches, and the fans were like, damn. You know, you may have hated these people beforehand, but you're like, all right. I mean, if you're going to give me more matches like that and set things up properly, I'm down with it. Do you have the it factor? The reason there was so much backlash to the Bellas for so many years is because we know they were catapulted too quickly and they didn't necessarily have that it factor. It took a lot of time. Just bringing in beautiful twins just for the sake of being beautiful twins that can promote and market, that's one side of it. Don't expect the fans to just jump on board because they're beautiful twins that can market and wrestle semi-decently at times. You know? I don't know. I'm just thinking a lot of steps ahead of time, guys. I think this is moving kind of fast. I don't know any reason why they would have to be in there to introduce themselves if they weren't being skyrocketed. So, it for a while. My point of this, guys, is even though nothing has been announced of this, of the details on what has been signed between them or anything like that, it is clear, judged upon the timeline and how long they've been affiliated with WWE, the last couple of years, and really taken shape since the Garcias became the Bellas became the Garcias. It is clear that WWE has found their new twins that are going to overtake the Bellas in conversation. Is it the right call? Time will tell. I really do hope them the best. They are a beautiful pair of twins. They have athletic ability, so it seems, so it says. Put in the work. You really want to do this thing, or are you just trying to get more TikTokers? You really want to do this? You really love it? Put in the work. It's one thing to show up and put somebody on your shoulders and go, hey guys, we're beautiful twins, hi. And it's another thing to take this very, very seriously. Congratulations to the Cavinder twins. They made the announcement in April. They pulled the NIL program end of 21, made the announcement in April, showed up on NXT this week. A deal's not in place? BS. WWE has found their Bella twin replacements. They are known as the Cavinder twins. Those are the main stories I got for you guys. I would like to go over. We're going to do some super thankers now, man. This is fun. There were several of you guys. I'm going to give you a shout out. We're going to do JR's Amplified NXT Roundup in a minute. But I want to give a shout out to the new Amplified Channel Member of the Week, Christopher Blackshear. For those of you that don't know, we now do channel memberships. 5 months ago, I opened up channel memberships. And Christopher Blackshear, I think, has been all 5, I believe. Maybe there was sometimes there's a hiccup, and some of you guys have to subscribe to the channel in terms of membership. Remember up. But Christopher's been a tried and true of the channel. And gold card member, I believe, the whole 5 months. I don't think there was a month taken off. And what I do with the channel members, I put all the names to an auto generator. And by the way, the tube updates the list every hour, so it's accurate. So if somebody for, I don't know, financial purposes or anything had to take a month off of membership, totally understand, man. Take care of your shit. But the list is updated every hour. So only eligible members, and it's kept up to date by the hour, only eligible members will run through the auto generator. It lands on a name, and that's the channel member of the week. Now, so far, we've had Renee G, James Shrimp Fajitas, and Sir Charles. What's cool about that is they're all tried and trues. Shouldn't be too shocked. Gold card members, most of them are tried and trues. Been with BC and the amp unit for a long time, and that's just, we're an amplified unit pack. We're just a pack of dogs. So, and this is no exception. The 4th channel member of the week is a tried and true Christopher Blackshear, man. Congratulations, salute. It's just a fun way for BC and the unit to show extra praise to this individual throughout the week for the level of respect and the level of, I guess the best way to put it is the contribution to the channel. Just being in chats, smashing the up. Doesn't cost a dime to do either. Show up, say what's up. What up, BC? Smash the up. You know, it's my way to say thank you, man, and give the chance for the Amplified unit to do the same. So, Christopher, that's my spiel. Congratulations, man. Shine up that gold card, man, because I'm looking at your name right now with the gold card next to it. Shine up that gold card. Looks like it needs a little polishing, Christopher Blackshear. Shine the gold card up. Christopher says with a 2-spot coffee. I appreciate that, Christopher. BC, three words. About he's talking about the yesterday's podcast in the the topic. WWE all over the place. NXT is getting main roster talent flooding NXT. There's champions on opposite side brands that their titles don't represent. So in other words, Bianca, which is now Asuka, is holding a Raw title, but she's on SmackDown. Rhea's holding a SmackDown title, but on Raw. You have a world title that had to be created because Roman's hogging 2, and the decision was wrong on night 2 of WrestleMania. And then they had to make a whole nother world title to condense the 2 titles because they didn't separate them before Mania to give Cody one and keep the Universal on Roman so he could hit his 1,000 days. Nothing. Paul Levesque is absolutely in shambles right now. No decision is being made correctly. So we talked all about it. So Christopher says, BC, 3 words about the video. Fuck this NXT! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. If you're keeping track, that's exclamation point times 3. Fuck this NXT. R.I.P. to the Iron Sheik. Christopher, salute. I'll add 2 more exclamation points. Exclamation point, no lies detected. Salute, my friend. Good to see you up in these chats and on these uploads all the time. Christopher Blackshear. Polish up that gold card, man. Also, Jack Brewer, 5-spot coffee. Super thanks from yesterday's podcast. Gave the like button a camel clutch. Rest in power, Iron Sheik. His legacy will never be forgotten. I will miss his messages on Twitter, especially about Hulk Hogan. Hope WWE does a 10-bell salute. He deserves it. Even people that don't watch wrestling know who he is. That is what makes him an icon. Thanks for your honesty about NXT. They don't need boring Corbin, Ali, Dana Brooke, or even Rollins. They need to build the talent they got now. Jack Brewer, let me return that thank you and bring it back to you. Thank you, bro. Gold card member, and for the coffee and the super thanks, man, the contribution. Throwing the content creator a tip. It's not needed, but appreciated, Jack Brewer. And you are right, man, the whole wrestling world, but beyond that, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you've heard the name, you know about Iron Sheik. And that's been for decades, man. That's a legacy that just will never die. And you bring up a good point, Jack Brewer. Do they do a 10-bell salute? WWE sometimes, even though your significance impacts wrestling in the largest of ways, if they think you're not relevant enough to the newer fans these days, they won't make an all-out 10-bell salute. And to do that, I think you would have to have all the wrestlers on stage. Would Paul Levesque do that? Vinnie Mac do that? I don't know. That's interesting. It might just be maybe they'll go as far to do a video package. I don't know about the 10-bell salute unless it's a big thing in the community, like everybody pushing for it. Then Paul Levesque will have no choice, I would think. Jack Brewer, appreciate the thanks, man. And appreciate your membership. Top notch. JR9 Gaming, 2-spot coffee in the super thanks. JR9 Gaming says, great vid, BC. Now this is the first week of JR9's amplified NXT roundup of the main positives and negatives of each week. It is quite lengthy for the first edition, will normally be shorter. Let's rock, man. This could be an hour and a half podcast, and I could still come out with another podcast later in the day. Who Who cares? I'll make the time. For my gold members especially, for my right-hand man, JR9 Gaming, let's rock. What do you got to say, brah? That's what the super thanks is for, man. At the end of the vids, we'll talk about the super thanks, man. We'll let you guys chime in. We'll get interactive. JR9 Gaming says, now this... no. The first of the positives of NXT this week. JR9 says, great to see Ava get her first pin... Ava Rain, Simone Johnson, for those of you that don't know, Rock's daughter. Great to see Ava get her first pinfall victory. She does have a lot to work on, but plenty of time to do so. Yeah, and that's the thing. She's being skyrocketed kind of unfairly. That's part of being The Rock's daughter, and you really want to push her as fast as possible. Don't push them too fast, or they won't progress. They'll actually regress. They'll go backwards. So, slowly but surely, I don't mind that. I don't mind her being in a faction from the jump. Really learn. You can be a part of that, not the sole spotlight. So, I totally agree on that, JR9. Also, Dar vs. Frazier Heritage Cup next week should be very good after the last match they had. Yes, because I enjoyed that thoroughly. You know that, anybody that listened to that podcast review. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I will have to actually, if I don't catch that live or not, I will actually have to catch that. All right, I'm going to stop. After every point that JR9 makes, I'm going to stop giving my input. I'm just going to read it. Also in the positives, Tony D being visited by Stax in prison was a good segment. I actually think Stax will be revealed to be the one that ratted Tony out. Thea winning was the correct call, as it's a filler defense for Tiff, but she can help elevate Thea during the title match before moving on to bigger things. Now the negatives. Gacy losing in less than 5 minutes to Ali, of all people, was ridiculous. I have to chime in real quick on this. Only this one, all right? I could not agree more. You build up Gacy. I mean, he's in a triple threat match for the North American Championship, their mid-card title. You build him up. He's got this faction. He's a lead guy. Ali comes out of nowhere from the main roster because it failed. His main roster whole shtick failed. He comes back and he's just going to start beating NXT guys to get to an NXT title. Now, what are you going to say? He's going to put over Wesley, basically. What is that going to do for Ali? First of all, he couldn't hack it on the main roster, and then he can't even get the fucking mid-card title in NXT. So it doesn't do anything for Ali. On the flip side, he shouldn't be back in NXT because it doesn't do anything for them, because to get to the title to Wesley, or wherever they want to go with Ali, he's going to have to beat a lot of people to get to that point. Why do you need him beating half or a quarter or 5 people in your NXT roster? The whole point is developmental. That's what Paul said. He lied through his horse teeth. The nose grew on that one again, because it's not just developmental. All right, you're bringing in all these talents. Why just to have Gacy lose to a main roster guy? How is that developing Gacy? Anyway, I had to chime in there. Could not agree more, man. Taking some of those exclamation points from Christopher Blackshear. Also in the negatives, Gigi's victory in the cage proved to be wrong. The wrong call, since she was eliminated from the Battle Royal in just 2 minutes. Good point there. Plus, Kiana said Gigi always falls short backstage, which only makes sense if she lost to JC. You're using common sense and logic, JR9. Speaking of JC, she was treated like an afterthought. No entrance for the Battle Royal, but Dana got one. Completely ridiculous. You know what we call that, JR9. The jobber entrance. I'm just hoping that HBK does Valkyria versus JC, since Val eliminated JC to get her back on track after three straight losses and being 2 wins with 4 losses since turning on Gigi back in February. Needs to change ASAP. Breaker versus Seth, if they were doing it, should be on Raw post SummerSlam, not NXT, similar to KO's main roster debut against Cena. And the only people that should be going back to NXT are those similar to like Mandy Rose and Dijakovic. That needed a massive overhaul in character, and developmental was best placed for it to happen. Or like Gargano, for instance, since it fit the story perfectly to elevate Waller. Not world champs like Seth. And to make that a more, just to amplify that comment, JR9, it's not just that, too, who it is. It's how many at once. I mean, we're talking Sethington freaking, Ali, Baron Corbin, Dana Brooke, all at once we're talking about them in NXT. Damn! I would rather, JR9 Gaming says, I would rather just Breakker versus Dragunov, which I thought had started since Braun attacked Dragunov last night. Feels like a Triple H call to put Sethington on NXT for ratings. HBK needs to stand up for NXT now more than ever, as main roster talents are just going to hurt the young talent that NXT is actually for. Salute, brother. JR9 Gaming's amplified NXT roundup for the week, man. Appreciate it, JR9 Gaming. Always such great points, and you know so much about the NXT show as a whole. So your points are valid to an amplified measurement. So much talent. I don't understand what the decision would be unless it's a ratings ploy. They pulled 615, I believe, this week, right? I don't think it was 625. I think they pulled 615. There's been a lot of fires that have been leaking into the States. I was listening to the Michael Kay radio show. He's the head broadcaster of the Yankees. He has a radio show during the days, and on my travels, I was listening to it with my earbuds popped in, and they were talking about how ratings were up for everything on Tuesday night, and it was strange. Like, there was no reasoning for it, and they were trying to make sense of as to why. Because the Yankees did play. They got postponed last night. No New York team was playing last night. A lot of games postponed because of these fires. But Tuesday night, even though the sky was yellow and pink and smoke, they played the game, and the ratings were extra high, and there was no reason for it. So maybe that helped NXT too. But even so, 615 with all these main roster talents, man, no, just make something special with the talent you have. Easily elaborated more, but this would literally be a 2-hour podcast if I kept going on it. So anyway, salute. I appreciate it. And it opens up just so much good conversation. But we have had a lot of good conversation this entire hour plus podcast, and it might not even be the only one. It could be. Now that we went over, now I have a lot of business to attend to, so maybe this is the only podcast for the day. But there'll be more amplification tomorrow, and then the SmackDown review for the week. There's a lot more coming up. Stay amplified to the core. You know the deal. Until next time, and there will be a next time. Top guy, I am out. BC saying, check you. Salute.